I'm Kim Holland, the rainmaker and leader of the Kim Holland Homes team at Keller Williams Realty Elite.
And I'm Jordan DeStefano, agent with the Kim Holland Homes team.
We're going to bring you the real truth of what happens behind the scenes of real estate.
We're not going to sugarcoat. We're going to tell you exactly what we have to do to get the deal done.
Welcome to the first episode of our Selling Long Island podcast. I am Kim Holland with Kim Holland Homes, here with my co-host Jordan DeStefano. In this podcast, we're going to be telling you all the behind-the-scenes stuff without sugarcoating it, the dirty, grimy, crazy stuff that realtors have to do to get you to the closing table and to get a deal done. So, Jordan, why don't you start out by telling everybody, how did you get into real estate?
So, long story short, one day I picked up a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and it really just changed my perspective on everything, finances, and kind of just the way everything works. So I kind of just, from there, I read more finance books and listened to podcasts and just started surrounding myself with the right people.
Right.
And then I just came to a realization that real estate's just a phenomenal way to build wealth. And I wanted to hop into real estate. I wanted to help people achieve home ownership. I wanted to learn everything that happens in real estate. And the more I learn, the more I want to keep learning. So it's been fun so far, and I can't wait to start building my own real estate portfolio. And so it's been good so far.
That's fantastic. Getting into it like so young is so important. You know, you have just so many years ahead of you where you're going to be where, you know, I wish I would have been, 20 years earlier. So it's going to be incredible. Yeah, you've got a good journey ahead of you.
That's the goal.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I ended up in real estate. I was in customer service, consulting, hospitality, and my family was always real estate attorneys, title closers, short sale people, and they said, just do it. And it's tough to get into a commission-based industry, and then you don't know where your next paycheck's coming from. So that was the thing that held me back. But once I got into it, it was just like full steam ahead, like the best decision I ever made.
Yeah, it's tough being commission-based. A lot of people don't realize that it's only commissions. There's no salary. And I remember the first few days I was in the office. I think it was maybe Josh or maybe Will. They told me the statistic. They were like, that 80% of realtors don't make it. In 2 years, if you look to the right and left of you, chances are someone's not going to be there. In 5 years, 87% don't make it. And it was just like, for me, it was kind of just like, bring it on, you know what I mean? I'm just competitive. I played baseball my whole life. So now it's like that I don't play anymore. I kind of have to transmutate that competitiveness into something else. So it's like, real estate's feast or famine. It's not kind of like the glitz and glam everyone makes it out to be. So I was kind of just like, bring it on.
Yeah, people don't realize, when you go on a listing appointment and they want to cut your commission, it's like, I feel like turning around to them and saying, well, so you work, 2 weeks and your boss goes to give you a check and they're like, well, I only really feel like paying you for like 7 days of the 14 days. So here's a check for 7, but you did the work for the 14. So what people don't understand about our commissions is like it's called a commission, but it's really our salary. It's really what we get paid. And, if I billed people by the hour, it would be a lot more than what my commission is. Mm-hmm. So it's just, it's just like this misconception of commission that people feel that they can just cut what we're worth. And it's just, it's just so disappointing because, you wouldn't go to a 9 to 5 and then take a third of your salary when your boss gives you a check.
Yeah, and with the commissions, a lot of people think, oh, the commissions are way too high, but they don't realize a lot goes to the brokerage, a lot, maybe you're on a team split, maybe obviously taxes and stuff like that. So a lot of people think we're just racking these huge commission checks.
Right.
Well, we honestly, there's a small portion that we actually net at the end of the day.
Exactly.
That's just one of the many misconceptions with real estate.
Yeah, so I mean, we have so much to talk about moving forward in these podcasts. Just the experiences. Every single deal is a new experience. We had some crazy ones. We had deals that were like not sell to buy, and then they were sell to buy, and then we had sellers calling our buyers calling the sellers directly and saying, I know this deal's falling apart, but maybe I can rent the house from you anyway. Like craziness.
Yeah, real estate brings out the best in you. When you're dealing with people, you're dealing with creatures of emotion, not logic, so you have to know how to deal with them. And one of the biggest misconceptions that I had when I first got in the industry, and I think a lot of realtors are going to find this funny, is when I got my license, I thought joining the brokerage was so important because I thought the way you got business was you join the brokerage, and then the brokerage hands you the listings,
Right.
and they like take turns handing each realtor the listing. So
If
I thought,
only.
yeah. So obviously, I realized it's more of a lead generation business as much as it is
Yeah.
selling houses and helping people buy houses. So that was a huge misconception for me. So it's obviously harder than I thought. But
Yeah. Well, you are doing a great job. You've got a couple of deals in already. Only doing it, I think since May, but like on fire. You listen to everything that people tell you. You can't get better at anything if you don't learn from better people. And that's why people have coaches, and that's why people have mentors, because we don't need to reinvent the wheel. The wheel was invented. Let's just figure out how to roll. So somebody else knows how to do something, or they have a better idea and they're like, this works, I'm gonna try that idea. So, we have so much to talk about. There's so many things about realtors that if we weren't part of the equation, it would never happen. That deal Michelle and I were on, and the seller selling it himself, and the negotiation took so long that by the time we were ready to sign contracts, the entire thing fell apart, and it was like over a GFI outlet in a bedroom, like things that if it was a real estate agent that was on the other side of that deal, done. But the negotiations, standing your ground about, making sure you're doing what's in the best interest of each of your clients. It's so important to know that.
A lot of people think real estate agents aren't necessary, but some of the deals we've had and we've been involved in, they wouldn't happen without the real estate agents involved. So, there's a reason most for sale by owners end up listing with an agent. They don't know the market well. They don't know how to sell a home. A lot of people think realtors aren't necessary, but they are.
100%, yeah, they're definitely necessary. And, like I said, in the next few podcasts, you and I are going to discuss, all the deals that we've had. We could just talk about the inspection that we were on the other day. That could be an entire podcast itself. As soon as we pull up and the inspector comes out of the car and we greet the buyers, and we're all standing there in front of this house, and we look down and the inspector's like, wow, these pavers are so beautiful. And I looked at you and I looked at him and I'm like, that's stamped concrete, and we knew it was like downhill right after that,
Yeah, or before that when you even said, oh, I'm not sure if coming today, he's got the flight to Florida, I'm not sure if he moved it back. And the inspector was like, whoa, wait, if not here, I'm going to get in my car and I'm going to leave.
He was like the road runner from that cartoon. He was like, zoom, he was, but sometimes people have to work. Sometimes, I wasn't sure if was coming because, he has a full day of work. His wife has a full day of work, day before Thanksgiving. Like, sometimes you just can't make it. And he was out of there.
Yeah, there's no such thing as a smooth deal. Every deal has a little bit of something. And
it's a lot. That inspection was definitely like a full episode, for sure. So,
yeah, definitely.
And I have a seller right now, and they had a tenant. The tenant was like, okay, I'm definitely leaving. And by the time, we were ready to close, the tenant's like, I don't have any place to go. I can't leave yet. Tenant didn't leave on time. Seller lost the house. And now the buyer's suing the seller because the seller won't move. But the seller can't move because she doesn't have a house anymore because the tenant wouldn't leave. So, there's so many moving parts, on top of how many people that are actually involved in the deal. 2 agents, 2 attorneys, a title closer, a bank attorney, a lender, the inspector, the survey guy. Like, there's probably 7 or 8 people just on each deal. Then you multiply that by like 10 deals and I'm talking to 70, 80 people in a day.
Yeah, especially with the sell to buy we're dealing with right now, where the listing agents are kind of not doing too much, and we have to maybe get involved with that and figure out the violations so she can buy this home. And there's just certain things you have to navigate that you can't predict. Every deal is different. Yeah,
like we're working the deal right now, and like you said, and the listing agent that actually is selling the house for our buyer in Queens, and we're buying with her on Long Island. And they're just like sitting back, not doing anything, not worrying about a commitment, not worrying about anything, not helping them whatsoever. So we're literally, you and I, are helping her sale go through because her listing agents aren't doing their job. So, we have so much to talk about. We could go on forever, which is why we're going to do this podcast, to really let people know how valuable we are and how much we really do behind the scenes. So inspections, buyers, sellers, what happens in the middle of the deals where we have all these problems and we have to solve them and, keep the deal going. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited to talk about all this stuff because, I think it'll reassure the public of how necessary real estate agents are in the entire process of buying and selling.
Yeah, definitely, especially with all these new Netflix series nowadays. Everybody has a different perspective on real estate. All these scripted real estate shows with these huge properties. It's not actually really like that.
Exactly.
So it's cool to talk about real estate from a real perspective, what's actually going on, and even talk about real estate from maybe 2 different age groups to see what's going on and see what our demographics are doing.
Absolutely.
There's a lot to talk about.
Yeah, you're going to be teaching me some things too. I can't wait.
We'll see about that.
I want to thank everyone. I really appreciate you being part of our very first episode.
Thank you, Kim, and thank you guys as well. Make sure you stay tuned for the next episode of Selling Long Island.